I would love to hear your thoughts on, I guess there's some social political nuances that I would like to, to pick your mind on. But since you've mentioned the topic, I would love to hear your thoughts. So you've mentioned how, in the past, it was probably easier to establish this emotional connection with other human beings through music and through art. Mm-hmm. And obviously, considering that at this point, I guess it's easy to say that the planet is well more overpopulated than in the past when you had this conversation with the professor.
Right.
And you see how the society is evolving in terms of perception, in terms of, establishing a whole different dynamic in communication and exchanging values and exchanging moral grounds and so on and so forth. So basically what I want to ask you is that, do you believe that this sort of magic that rock and roll has produced for generations in the past is as raw and as pure right now in terms of what it has been in the past?
Well, I'd have to confess that it wasn't that pure back in the 80s, because there was an incredible vein of ego and hedonism to an excess. I would have to flip back to the late 60s, early 70s, 1964, 1974, when we probably had a maximization of purity. But it comes down to individuals. And what I cannot count out is the possibility of a great individual or a number of great individuals appearing at some point. It's far more difficult now because the marketing and sales and promotional aspect of the business is all geared to formula and superficiality. And I would have to say, we'd have to look at the drugs that everybody's taking. Okay? There's a relevance there. Now, when I was a nipper and a little fella, it was a really, really, really big deal to smoke a spliff and have some Pakistani black hash. And the big step was to take LSD. Now, here's my point. Both those were things that increased the stimulation of your cognitive ability and the depth of your cognitive ability and the speed of your cognitive ability of yourself and your environment. Now, of course, cocaine comes along in the 70s and screws it all up. And now, not that I know, because I don't go, I'm just old and would be in the way, I get the sense that everybody goes to listen to what is techno disco music and take Molly and jump up and down. And there's not an awful lot of thought that goes into that. What we're dealing with there is a purely physical indulgence. We're not sitting there discussing a book called The Doors of Perception, for example, when you go to a rave. So the likelihood of some sort of messianic figure, and to me, John Lennon is messianic. Despite the fact that there's plenty of evidence to say that John Lennon was a real bastard as well. We judge our artists by their best, not their worst. And imagine and give me some truth. I mean, just songs of incredible, simple clarity and simple power. And one of my personal kicks is, I think simplicity is essential to bringing people together and having a communal mindset. Mm-hmm. The more complex something becomes, the more the priests have the hold of it, the more the government have the hold of it. Mm-hmm. Getting along is simple. You appear on my screen and I say, good morning. Please tell me your name. Mm-hmm. Simple. Yeah. And we start to have a connect. Yeah. Will there be another John Lennon? I doubt it. But it's not impossible. Mm-hmm. It's what I've noticed in the music world is that when things are completely dismissed and counted out is when something happens. When the field has been turned into a parking lot and they put asphalt all over where once there was lovely bushes and green grass, eventually a weed comes through. And then another one. And then the next thing you know is that car park is reclaimed and is green and a beautiful place to play. So I'm mildly optimistic that in the music medium, there will be good people who will spread a good message. Mm-hmm. And oh boy, do we need some good messages now? I mean, I have to say that, and I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but I'm not sure how many Islamic extremists are into Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Mm-hmm. You follow me? Mm-hmm. So going and playing a gig for them, you might just end up being tossed off the roof of a building. That's a difficult one. But in most of the world, you have the magic of watching a good performance on a stage, and you look out and all those faces are different because you're in Mumbai, and then you go and you look and wait a minute, there's a whole bunch of Russian kids who are all bouncing up and down to the same song that the Indians were. Mm-hmm. And you go to Australia and everybody's raising a can of Foster's and going, right on, mate. Yeah, there is an aspect of unities, and I think the exceptions are extremes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most certainly that's the case. To bring it round to something that used to be close to me, mm-hmm. You could dismiss Guns N' Roses as an unpleasant, barbarous, indulgent, misogynistic, wretched little tribe creating havoc wherever they go. Mm. And I'll sit there and go, fair point, maybe. But let me ask you to consider this. Do they not stand for the worth of every soul, including urchins from under the street? And that, to me, was the heart of Guns N' Roses. Mm-hmm. That every soul had value, especially the impoverished ones. Mm-hmm. And when I look back 30 years and I look back to an absolutely unpredictable and extraordinary response to that band, I see it as a wave of working class blue collar people. Mm. Mm. And when I was manager, I tried to keep the elite, the models, at bay. I tried to keep photographers like Herb Ritts out of the environment. I didn't want a compromise of that incredible connection between the band and a working class state of mind. And not such a big surprise because I grew up a middle-class kid in England. I went to boarding school at the age of 7. All right, so I was really jealous when Mick Jagger was singing about meeting a factory girl. I wanted to meet a factory girl. I might get laid by a factory girl. I wanted to go down to the Thames and share a Waterloo sunset with her, as Ray Davies had beautifully suggested. I was definitely into thinking my middle class background is hypocritical and I see greater truth
in a working class element state of mind.
Mm. Yeah. When at what point and how did you come to the conclusion about this, specific feature of Guns N' Roses and their ability to connect with these sort of different society groups? Was there a moment where you felt it and you realized it, or was it more a conclusion that is based on culmination of different moments and situations?
If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you go through a process of trying to find out who they are and get some sort of sense of predictability to their reactions and their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a band is 4 or 5 people, not one. You're not in a relationship with just one. Now you're in a relationship with 5 girlfriends or 5 boyfriends or a mix thereof, God help you. For me, with Guns N' Roses, the first one that I became intrigued by was Slash. Because I thought he was developing into a good, decent guitar player and may have potential. But more importantly, he was English. And he was articulate. And he was eloquent. And he was charming. And that started to make me think, oh, there's more to this than just a bunch of knuckleheads. Then I started to get to know Izzy. And Izzy to me was to the rock and roll manner born. He was effortless in his writing. He was effortless in his rhythm guitar playing. And he had an unimpeachable street vernacular in what he wrote. So I was very envious of that and very, very guarded of it too, because such a gift is rare. And with Axl, everybody asked, did Axl ever change with success? No, he's always been fucking Axl. Success merely amplified him. He's always been that way. However, you deal with it because he had that voice. That was the voice of middle class, or no, working. It was the voice of working class middle American rage. It was the voice of an outlaw. Oh my God, what a voice. And you put those 3 together with a decent rhythm section, and you're starting to go, okay, I get it. This has got character. This has got personality, and this has got some brains. And there was a magic in the chemistry there, to the point where the band was almost cartoon in its iconography.